Music theory is the study of the fundamentals of music. So if I understand what makes music tick, could I make a song without ever having to listen to it? While I was making the song, I never heard any audio. I completely turned off the MuseScore audio, and I used purely music theory knowledge. The first thing I did was pick a key. Picking the key doesn't really matter all that much, it changes how it sounds, but I just picked F minor because I like F and I think minor keys are better. The next thing I did was pick a chord progression. I picked a 1, 2, 5, 5 to 5 chord progression. I think I used this in one of my other songs. It's a pretty good chord progression because 1 leads strongly into 2, 2 leads strongly into 5 of 5, and 5 of 5 leads strongly into 5, and 5 leads into 1. Next, I made a bass line. What I did was I just arpeggiated every chord, and then I used the 7th as the last note so that it would lead right into the first. Also, when I was making this bass line, I wanted to make a pattern where for the first chord, the last note would be low, and then the second chord would be high, third low, fourth high. I was pretty confident that this bass line would work because just using the notes from the chords, you pretty much can't mess it up. But I just had to make sure that I didn't do any wrong notes, so I double-checked it quite a lot. And the last thing to note is that in the 5 chord, I raised the 3 to make a leading tone back to 1. I think you mostly do that in minor keys. That's what I learned from music theory. Next, I had to make a melody. Now, I actually scrapped this first version of the melody, but I did record it so we can go back and listen to what it is. But I mostly just arpeggiated the chords in the melody, and it didn't end up working out, especially since the chords didn't resolve at the same time in the melody versus like the bass line. So I actually spent like 5 minutes after I made my first version of the melody, just like tapping along and trying to figure out if it would work, and it didn't end up working with like the tempo, and I just played it safe and I got rid of it, and then I wanted to build something more like structural and like easier. So now when I made the melody the second time, I didn't want to just arpeggiate, so I put a lot of passing tones. Passing tones are basically just one tone that like bridges the gap between another chordal tone. It's a type of non-harmonic tone. You learn this in AP music theory. I wanted to keep the rhythm kind of consistent, so for the first bar of each chord progression, I kept on doing this like little 8th note passage here. And then after I got this final version of the melody, I just copy and pasted it for another 8 bars. And then I'm going to end up switching it up. But I'm going to talk about how I switch up the bass line next. So up until this point, I think the song was probably around like 25 seconds long at this point. The bass line has been the same like arpeggiation, and I just thought it was probably going to get a little boring, so I wanted to switch it up now. So what I did was I just played the chords in the chord progression instead of arpeggiating them, and then I just inverted them so it goes up, and then I suspended them so it's like it starts an 8th note from the last measure. I just think that'll like lead in each chord really well. And then I wanted to switch the melody again because that had also been the same for 16 bars up until that point. So what I did was I just took the original bass line because maybe that was catchy, right? Because we played it alone at the start. I replayed that bass line, but I added passing tones to it to spice it up a little bit. So it's like familiar, but it's like different. And at this point, I was like pretty much done with the song. Like it wasn't that long, but I didn't want to be too repetitive and just keep repeating that. So what I did was I just added a ritardando, and then I just switched it to major. I modulated it to major, and then I did a scale, like run in a pentatonic scale. And then I finished out the song with a big arpeggiated chord in the melody, and then just one note in the bass. And then that was it. That was my finished song. It was 1 minute long. And also, I kind of went crazy at the end here. I don't know if this is going to be good. I just like was experimenting a little bit, but I'm curious. So it's time. Turn back up this volume. Let's get started. What? That's actually like hella good. What? There's just only like one part I would change. Okay. Yeah, the ending worked fine. I think I just should have put some chord under there. Okay. I'm actually amazed. The chord part, when I like with all the suspensions and stuff, I expected that to just be terrible. Oh my god. That's actually like good. Okay. That's actually fire. Closing comments. I didn't expect it to be that good. I'm gonna save this version and then I'm gonna duplicate this version and then touch it up a bit, make it a final song. Then I guess I'll play that. I'll play that and then I'll make two separate videos, one with like completely blind version and then just the touched up version. Or actually, I'll probably just do touched up version and then play this unfinished version here in the video. The other thing will be completely separate. Oh, I need a name. We need to name it. Yeah. Or I could just name it Made Deaf. That's actually a good name. I'll just say Made Deaf. That's good. Ooh, what the? Get back here. Okay. Made Deaf. Okay, I like that. Made Deaf. Unfin. And then I'm probably gonna like play it at the end, like have a final listening.